Welcome to the Orasta channel. In this video, I will explain the story of the Donghua series Swallowed Season 2, Episode 68. In the previous episode, Luo Feng got several treasures and weapons from the meteorite star inheritance. Now, the weapon he was holding turned out to be a piece of a spaceship, which was said to be strong enough to beat even Lei Shen. There is also the rubbed Cloud Ratan, which has become a loyal friend. The vines will join Luo Feng in the battle later. So that Luo Feng doesn't make a mistake when making a decision in the future, Babata will also guide him and teach him in place of the meteorite star master Huyen Bo. But Luo Feng has a long way to go to become the strongest warrior in the universe. So what is the next story? Without further ado, let's get right to the story. Luo Feng, who was still at the Extreme Martial Club's headquarters, then met with leader Han. This time, Luo Feng would buy things with some of the wood crystals he had already gotten and exchange them for useful treasures that could help him get stronger. From the list of treasures in the catalog Han showed him, Babata did not find the wreckage of the spaceship that Luo Feng really needed to build a small spaceship to explore the universe. But in the catalog, Babata found the ancient gravity sphere, which could help Luo Feng get stronger. This gravity space was just like the one inside the elite training camp that Luo Feng had used back then, where the weight of space can be set to be up to 1,000 times that of the Earth. Luo Feng also used it, and when he did, his strength level went up to 120 times compared to when he practiced in an open space. And Luo Feng was the one who quickly suggested this trade. Aside from that, he also traded some 2,000-year-old black crow root plant spirits, 2 dragon bloods, and 7 plant spirits. Of course, this made Babata feel confused. Why did he buy that treasure? Whereas it was Luo Feng who had a lot of wood crystals and was more efficient at improving his cultivation method. In the end, Luo Feng had to pay 110 stars worth. If he traded them for wood crystals, the amount would be equivalent to 5.5 pieces. Also because Hong still owed Luo Feng half a crystal from before. Then Luo Feng needs to give only 5 wood crystals. Then the exchange was over. Right after Luo Feng got out of Hong's room, a woman and her bodyguards came to see him on purpose. This woman introduces herself as Isidona, the head of the HR Alliance and the Empress who rules the underground world. Isidona immediately asked Luo Feng to meet him at a coffee shop to continue their important conversation in a more casual setting. The scene shifts to a private coffee shop that is heavily guarded by bodyguards brought by Isidona. And why an important person like him came to Luo Feng? It was all related to the wood crystal treasure, and he asked Luo Feng if he still had any of the precious crystals, after he traded some crystals with Hong. Because if Luo Feng still had it, the HR Alliance was willing to buy it at a price 3 times higher than usual if he did. When Babata heard Isidona's words from the crystal core room, he was very annoyed. Because, according to him, even if someone pays it 100 times, it's still worthless. From what Luo Feng knew about wood crystals, even if the currencies on Earth were converted, it wouldn't be enough to pay for half of the price of the real wood crystal and all the benefits the fighters will get from it. If a middle-level or high-level war god ate it, they would instantly become a star traveler without doing anything. With all the treasures the HR Alliance has, it's not surprising that they are willing to spend a lot of money to get these valuable crystals. But Babata says it's a shame because the creatures of the Earth really want this treasure to raise a warrior to the level of a star traveler, even though the treasure cannot be compared to anything. Also, early-level star travelers are just simple warriors in the universe. But people from Earth found warriors at this level to be very strong. Here, Babata also told Luo Feng to ask Isidona about the wreckage of the spaceship. After getting instructions from Babata, Luo Feng also stirred his coffee using mental strength. When Luo Feng used his mental strength openly, Isidona's bodyguards started to get nervous. Because what he did during the negotiation session showed that it was Luo Feng who challenged the party that made the bid. Because wood crystal is a very valuable item. Here, it is Luo Feng who does not want to trade it for money. Instead, it is an object that has a priceless value. And it's the wreckage of spaceships or other ancient things. It turns out that Babata was right to trust his gut. Some of these things are available at HR Alliance. Isidona chose to agree to Luo Feng's terms at this point, and would send Luo Feng a list of the items from ancient ruins that the HR Alliance got in the next 2 days. Isidona drank a cup of coffee while the meeting was over. And that was the end of the talks. The scene changes to Luo Feng's house, where Luo Feng is finally getting home. Because he hadn't seen his family for a long time after completing the mission on the Misty Islands. Luo Feng then gave his family a plate of spirit plants that he had bought earlier. After they ate it, Luo Feng also asked Babata to scan the physical strength of each member of his family. The benefits of the plant spirits were immediately felt in their increased physical strength. At first, these 3 people were just regular people. But after eating the plant spirit, the father's physical strength is now that of a warrior tier 3, his mother's is warrior tier 2, and Luo Hua's is warrior tier 3. The price of each plant spirit they ate was very expensive. So, Luo Feng told them it was just a common supplement to calm their worries. He also asked his father to try to stand up straight with the body he had at the time. Here, the father is not only able to stand up straight, but his body has also become very healthy, and he looks so full of life. Even though he is middle-aged, he can still jump in the air. And now, Luo Feng will take this family somewhere. When Luo Feng was in his private jet, that's when he told everyone what he really wanted to do. Where he will meet his father with Aunt Hongqin, who is his father Luo Feng's aunt and is still alive. And now he lives at the capital base. And this was why Luo Feng fixed his father's leg, so that he could meet his aunt in good health. The Luo Feng family also felt very thankful when they found out that their relatives were still alive after being separated during the Grand Nirvana era. In the middle of this emotional moment, Babata even insulted Luo Feng by asking, "What's so interesting about meeting his relatives?" Because, according to Babata, if Luo Feng wants to become a powerful warrior in the universe by inheriting a meteorite star, he can't afford to waste time. Because even 1 second would be very valuable to Luo Feng. Because Luo Feng's skills as a universe warrior were still basic. Luo Feng smiled at Babata's words. For Luo Feng, the most important thing is that family. He wanted to become a strong warrior so he could protect his family when they were in danger. So it was Luo Feng who would never forget his original plan. Being very strong wouldn't mean anything if Luo Feng didn't have his family by his side. After hearing such profound words, Babata also smiled at Luo Feng's decision. Not long ago, Awen suddenly contacted Luo Feng. When his best friend found out that Luo Feng and his family were going to see Hongqin's aunt, he also told him the latest news, which was that his father's aunt had a heart problem and was being treated at the hospital. Of course, this news surprised them all. Their happy faces turned into worried ones right away. The scene switches to a hospital in the capital, where we see a young woman taking care of a grandmother who is weakly lying on her bed. At that moment, the young woman heard a knock on the door from the outside. It was obviously Luo Feng and his family, who had just arrived. Even though this young woman didn't know Luo Feng or the others' faces, she was still curious. Despite that, he let them in because they knew Hongqin's aunt, who Luo Feng called Grandma. As soon as they all got into the inpatient room, the father kept greeting his aunt because they hadn't seen each other in decades. At that time, Aunt Hongqin had to watch the face of Luo Honghua, also known as Luo Feng's father, for a while. Before they went their separate ways during the Nirvana era, Luo Honghua was still a child. But now he was quite old. Aunt Hongqin then introduced the young woman who looked after her. Her name was Tang Yongqin, and she was her own granddaughter. Luo Honghua also introduced Luo Feng and Luo Hua to the old woman. But all of a sudden, a group of gangs showed up and went in without being invited. They were led by a man named Wang Xing'an, who had an unusual style. And this man is a very important person who really wants to marry Tang Yongqing, even though she always declined. This man was also the one who gave Aunt Hongqing a heart attack because of Wang Xing'an's attitude. Wang Xing'an was always arbitrary and forced any method to get Yongqing. The cocky man's presence reminded Luo Feng of a man who had caused trouble with Luo Feng and a man who had caused trouble with Suxin before. And the man's name is Wang Xingping. If you look at their family names, both of them are from the Wang family. As well as his behavior, which is just as cocky because he was born into a wealthy family. Maybe the two of them were brothers. Because he was born into a royal family, this man also thought he could get everything. And many women are waiting in line to marry him. But so far, despite using abusive methods like threats and so on, Wang Xing'an still couldn't win Yongqing's heart. But he was just wishing to himself, because no woman would want to marry him if he was so annoying. For the sake of kicking him out, Yongqing also had time to point a knife at Wang Xing'an, but that didn't make him flinch in the least. And Wang Xing'an could get it easily. Wang Xing'an also said that if the Tang family business had been bought out by a foreign company, the lecturer that the woman loves was in a car accident a few days ago. Now, his grandmother has gotten sick. As well as the doctor and nurse who were supposed to come help him but didn't because of something small. All of this happened because Wang Xing'an wanted to get back at Tang Yongqing for not accepting his proposal. The woman's position is getting worse, and she has to accept or reject this cocky man if she wants things to stay the same as before. But it was at this point that Luo Feng finally spoke up. He had been watching the situation up until this point. To start, he said he was Yongqing's cousin who had just arrived from Jiangnan, the base city. After that, the thugs Wang Xing'an brought surrounded Luo Feng. Luo Feng was sure they were all just ants, though. The thing that happened back then made Aunt Hongqing worry that the innocent Luo Feng would get into trouble with Wang Xing'an. But Luo Feng's parents convinced the old lady not to worry too much. They think that their children can easily deal with problems. The name Luo Feng that just came into Yongqing's head was strange. On the other hand, the thugs who surrounded Luo Feng were also suspicious of the brave young man in front of them. Each of them started to wonder if the smart jet they had put their front page selfies up for was theirs. Luo Feng's face also looked familiar to them, especially since a few days ago an inspector was sworn in, and the young inspector was from Jiangnan. In their minds, they wondered, was this person? Before getting an answer, Wang Xing'an, who was already angry at how brazen the young boy in front of him was, told the thugs he had brought to take care of it right away. Even though the thugs were a little hesitant because the boy they had to deal with didn't seem like an ordinary person. Wang Xing'an didn't care who he was provoking. He thought that Luo Feng was already looking for trouble since he was a member of the royal family of the capital. The thugs had to immediately get ready to fight. Luo Feng, who was just walking, took a step away so that his family wouldn't be affected by the fight. First, after stretching, a thug tried to punch Luo Feng. But as a result, the thug bounced toward the wall and broke a bone in his wrist. Even though Luo Feng did his best to control his strength. The other thugs then moved as fast as lightning to confuse Luo Feng. But in the end, this is what happens. Luo Feng's counterattack was much faster, so much so that Wang Xing'an couldn't see through it. Now there is only one thug left. This one fights against thugs from Luo Feng with a dagger. But before the dagger could be taken out of the scabbard, Luo Feng used his mental strength to make the weapon break. And what he did instead was something that looked like an attack but was really lame. Wang Xing'an, who now lives alone, wants to leave. But he still told Luo Feng that he would be helped by a war god warrior from the Wang family. Before Wang Xing'an had left the room, he also got a phone call from Wang Xingping, where he was told that an inspector from the city of Jiangnan would soon be arriving in the capital. And Wang Xingping told him to stay away when they met, at least 10 kilometers away. Because Wang Xingping knew his older brother was used to being a troublemaker. Wang Xingping also said that people should try as hard as possible not to upset him. The name of the inspector was Luo Feng. After he found out that the man he had just angered was named Luo Feng, he was shocked.
Luo Feng?
Wang Xing'an, with a scared look on his face, ran screaming away because he was horrified. But while he was trying to escape, he was caught by police who were sent to arrest him. Because Wang Xing'an was also involved in the disappearance of several warriors that happened in the capital. He was then taken to be looked into further. The military troops could be seen standing in a line in the direction of the hospital hallway. They were greeting another inspector who had just arrived there. Meanwhile, in the inpatient room, and as for why Wang Xing'an had been arrested before, it was because Luo Feng had found a digital trace of Wang Xing'an's crime using information from A1 and sent it directly to the party concerned. Until finally, the inspector went up to Luo Feng. He is Inspector Jia Yi. Before he started his main conversation as the inspector of the capital, he apologized to Luo Feng because he had gotten himself into trouble after he moved to the capital. People also said that Wang Xing'an was a very arrogant man. Which makes sense since he is the main heir to the royal capital. Jia Yi did not expect that this man was also used to killing. Even though he was a very important person, Wang Xing'an was still arrested and given a sentence based on the rules. Get to the point of the conversation. Since we know that Luo Feng needs ancient spaceship ruins, Inspector Jia Yi has also made a list of the plane wreckages that Luo Feng wants. These will be traded for wood crystals. According to Babata, none of the many old ruins on the list are worth anything. Even the total price of all these things could not be compared to a single pieces of wood crystal. Luo Feng thought that the exchange rate in the universe was different from the one on Earth. Yes, Babata had no other choice but to let it go. Then he sent out the list of things that Luo Feng should pick up next. On the list that Babata asked for, there were at least 5,000 tons of items that Luo Feng would take home. It was a lot, and Jia Yi said that one piece for a wood crystal wouldn't be enough to buy that many things. So, in this exchange, Luo Feng would give 2 wood crystals to Jia Yi, and they both agreed to this. After they finished negotiating, Babata was very angry with Luo Feng because he had already paid with 2 wood crystals. Even though, according to the exchange of the universe, Luo Feng got less than half of those crystals. He did it on purpose because he was very patriotic and wanted to help the country he lived in get stronger. Jia Yi is the representative of China, so he will not use the crystal for himself and for the country. After reuniting the families that had been split up and finding many ancient ruins, Luo Feng was now satisfied. And then he was ready to train to get stronger. Babata also said that they had to race against time to get the power of a meteorite star's inheritance. After seeing Jia Yi's list of ruins, Babata told him that meteorite stars weren't the only foreign civilizations that had set foot on Earth, there were other foreign civilizations too. And it shows a sign that says it's not okay. He also thinks that in the future, there will be evil and greedy alien civilizations that will soon invade humans on Earth. That's all there is to this episode of Swallow Star. Yes. This time there's only a typical Chinese drama plot, but it's still interesting to talk about. In the next episode, I'll talk about the interesting details of episode 69. If you like my video explanation, please click like and subscribe so that my channel can grow. See you next my video, bye.